Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to the latest episode of the Hard Compound Live. Episode number 200. We've made it. Who would have thought? Certainly not me. So yes, here we are, the big 200 milestone interview tonight. For those of you who don't know, my name's Rich and I run and operate the Hard Compound. We're a one-stop shop for all things motorsport, and we can be found on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and these videos can be found on YouTube as well. We cover everything, all kinds of motorsport from F1 to IndyCar, sports cars, rallying, bikes, touring cars, and anything else that we care to shake a stick at. And we do that in the form of 3 written articles every day. These go out at around 9 o'clock, 2 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. UK time, where we are based. And they take the form of race reviews, race previews, throwbacks, birthdays, breaking news, liveries, and all that good stuff, everything else in between. We're here to show a love of motorsport, no controversy, no nonsense, no arguments, just a love of motorsport to be shared with the world. So do come along, give us a follow, search for the Hard Compound on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Come and join in the fun. We'd love to have you on board. If you haven't already, of course. In case you hadn't noticed, we also do live video interviews, just like this one. And just like this one, these go out on our Facebook, our Twitter, and our YouTube channel, and very soon, our new LinkedIn channel. They are saved automatically in the live section on YouTube and on the Twitter, and they will be on the LinkedIn feeds. So you can go and check those out. As I said, we've had 199 previous guests. I won't name them all, but we just to give you a cross section, we've spoken to Mr. Mario Andretti and Jackie Ickx and Chip Ganassi, Jackie Oliver, Brian Redman. Just last week, we spoke with Mr. Bobby Rahal. We spoke with Ralph Furman and Kenny Brack. We spoke with Steve Soper, with Emanuele Pirro, Mika Salo, Stefan Johansson, Will Power, Ari Lyondike, most of the BTCC grid as it stands, and many, many other races as well. You get the idea. So do go check them out when you can, but don't do it just yet, because we have got a fantastic guest to help us celebrate our 200th live video interview. He's raced everything from F1 to IndyCar. He's raced in NASCAR, supercars, TCR Denmark. He's a multiple class winner in the 24 Hours of Le Mans. He's won the 24 Hours of Daytona, the 12 Hours of Sebring. He's raced in the DTM. He's British F3 champion, etc., etc. So lots to get through. We're going to bring him in right now. Please join me in extending a very, very warm welcome to Mr. Jan Magnussen.
Hello.
There he is. Jan, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Very pleased to hear it. Very pleased to hear it. Well, firstly, thank you very much for coming on, and thank you for being guest number 200. I can't think of many better people who have raced in so many different series to celebrate the 200. So thanks very much for coming on. It's much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Great stuff. Right. Okay. Excuse me. Right, bit of housekeeping first, folks. Looks like all the technology is working. We've got notifications on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. Sorry. If you have any comments or questions, do pop them in onto the live feed. We will see them in real time, and we'll do our best to work them in, or just talk amongst yourselves, whichever you like. Thank you very much for coming on board. Right. Okay. That's the intro done. Yeah. First, as I said, many thanks for joining us. How's the year been? It's been kind of busy for your sons as well as you, isn't it?
Yeah, no, there's been a lot of racing. Both Kevin in his in the WEC program with WRT in the BMW, and Luca in GB4 in England, and then obviously all my own stuff with a bit of TCR in Denmark, lots of historic racing, and a lot of coaching. So now it's been a busy year so far, but great. I'm loving all of it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's great that you're still so heavily involved with everything, and not just through your sons, of course, through what you're doing. One thing I didn't say, Jodie Sloss, who I know you've done some tutoring with out in Sebring. She, I think she was at Silverstone a few weeks ago, and I bumped into her, and I'm sure she says hello, because I had a quick chat with her as well. So I know you did some work with her.
I had a great time coaching with her, or coaching her in the US last year.
Yeah, and that's a cool story she's got from horses, from well, from horses, well, from actual
Entering.
horsepower to the other horsepower. It's a very cool story. And like she did say that you were a brilliant coach and you were very lovely with her. So yeah, she's very grateful.
Thank you.
So that's very nice to know. But yeah, very glad it's been a good year this year. That's obviously very much the present. But what I like to do before we get into everything that you've done, I like to start right at the very start. You're from like Roskilde in Denmark, which I know as a rock festival. That's my kind of world as Roskilde. But where did the love of motorsport come from?
It came from my brothers, my two older brothers, and my dad. All of them were involved in motorsport, but at a very amateur level. When I started, it was in motocross with my oldest brother. But quite early on, I started motocrossing from 5 years old until about till I was about 10 years old. And then we switched to go-karts simply to try something new. And we started off with me driving and my brother being my mechanic. And he's almost 10 years older than me.
Okay.
So he kind of took charge of all the technical stuff, and I could just concentrate on the driving part of it. So to begin with, there was just a used go-kart or a local track, just doing laps and loving it. Playing and making noise and having fun.
Which is the best thing to do at that age, isn't it? Just make noise and have fun with it, and just go and enjoy yourself. Which is a great way to start, and it's always nice to hear that it starts within the family. It's like kind of usually like the father or the brother or something like that. Yeah. Which is great. I mean, and I guess after a while of making noise and having fun, I guess you just thought, when did you first start thinking about going racing, like competitively and competing and taking it a little bit more seriously, maybe?
Yeah, so we were racing at a local, it's like a youth club where you could either do motocross or go-karts or horseback riding, or there was a bunch of stuff for kids.
Okay.
And so that's where we started. And they came up with an offer where we could rent a cart and an engine for a year for what's equivalent of £50. So it's kind of very within our budget. And that took us proper racing instead of just practicing and having fun at the club's little track. We could now go to the proper tracks around Denmark and start racing. And that was I think I started in August in '84. It was my first race. Yeah. And so I think we did 5 races that year. Didn't go super great. It was a very easy sort of effort. We're still trying to have fun. I think I finished 5th in my first race, which was all right. It was good.
That's pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. For a start. Yeah, that must have been a nice little confidence boost. Thinking, oh, hang on, maybe I'm quite good at this.
Yeah, at the time for me, it was still just purely about having fun. My brother was a bit more driven and wanted a lot more, so he created the opportunity for me to quickly move out of this club go-kart and then to get our own stuff, and we could go. We were very limited in terms of what we could do with the engine and how much we could practice and test. So he pretty soon made I don't know how he did it, but he found some money, and so we could buy our own kart, our own engines, and get going on our own. Like I said, he's pretty driven, so we were always 3-4 times a week at the track.
Wow.
Just trying to improve all the time. Him learning to be a mechanic and me learning to be a driver. And at the time, it was with another Danish driver, Jason Watt. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah.
So he is 1 or 2 years older than me. So we did a lot of training together, just driving and him bumping into me and me trying to move him out of the way and learning to drive hard.
Yeah.
And so that was good times. And already in the year after, for the 2 following years, we won the national championship in the junior categories.
Yeah. I know. Was it? Didn't I'm sure you won because there was some. You won some national championships around sort of age. I don't know, kind of 30, 40,
12 and 13.
12 and 13 national championships.
Yeah.
I've also saw that you won. You went into the World Junior Karting title, won that just after turning 14, which makes you the youngest ever winner, which is pretty cool.
That's very cool. The category, the junior category at that time, was from you had to have turned 14 and then through the year you turned 16. So that was a junior category, and the Junior World Championship in '87 was on July 12th, and my birthday was July 4th. So I was just old enough to enter the race. But it's also my first international race. So when we went, we went. We'd won a lot in Denmark, and mostly my brother, but I was in on it immediately. But we wanted to know, where are we? The year before, we went and watched Jason Watt do the Junior World Championship, and it was a fantastic experience, and seeing these big trucks, and everything looked so fantastic, and the go-karts were incredibly fast. So we put all the money together to do that one race, and we went there with the best engines we could find in Denmark, partnered up with another racing driver in Denmark to try and share some travel costs and stuff like that. It was pretty much on a budget when we went down.
We're on a real shoestring type thing, really.
Yeah, we had the best equipment we could get, or that we could afford. But when we got there, it turned out it was a lot harder than we thought it was going to be. So we were kind of midfield. I think there was 150, 160 entrants. And in testing, we were sort of midfield, 80th fastest, which was not so great. But we'd chosen a Tony Kart because they were willing to give us a good deal. And so there was me and my buddy, Jacob, in Tony Karts, maybe another couple, but there was definitely just it was us two, and then there was Tony Karts' official driver, and it was me and Jacob sort of midfield, and then this official driver all the way up front, and the fastest all the time. It was a true power circuit, and the engines that we had brought were sort of a good happy medium, then not so great at that track. It's being July, it's warm as hell, and at one time during sort of midweek, during all the preparation for the race, this Italian kid, I forget his name now, but he forgets to drink enough water or something. He has a blackout in the middle of the straight, and he has a blackout in the middle of the straight and crashes at the end of straight and breaks his shoulder.
Wow!
Which of course is pretty horrible for him. But that meant that there were two really good engines on the market. So
okay.
Well, I got one, and then Jacob got the other one, and immediately we were up front.
Wow!
Turned out it was the first. There was a new way of treating pistons with a nickel seal treatment. Yeah.
Okay.
And that was one of the first, and that really worked.
Wow.
So then, I got an engine, Jacob got an engine, and then we were up front.
Wow.
But one engine wasn't going to do it. But then, luckily, Jacob forgot to drink water. And, crashed and broke his collarbone. And I got his engine too. And then we made it through, won the World Championship in the first go. Fantastic experience. We went there in a small van with a little tent on the side, and by the time we drove home, I was a professional go-karter for the Tony Kart factory, and my brother was hired by the factory as a professional mechanic.
Wow! I mean, obviously there was a lot more came out of it than just the victory. Obviously, the victory was
big, but what it brought with it, my opportunity to become professional, and also my brother's opportunity to become professional race mechanic was a go-kart mechanic.
It's amazing.
It all started there.
Yeah, there was like one man's misfortune is another man's fortune, or something like that, isn't it? And
yes, that's very much so. Yeah,
it just kind of felt right. But It's the importance of being hydrated, you see. There you go.
Yeah, well, it's being in the right place at the right time, that helps.
Yeah, for sure. But you still got to race the thing, and you still got to win it. And I mean, it must have felt great. I mean, could you believe it? Your first, all that had gone on before it, your first international race, and all of a sudden you're world champion. You must have thought it was fantastic.
It was a pretty big leap from just a couple of years previous, from the little club in Denmark to standing at the top of the podium as world champion. That was pretty crazy.
Wow.
Pretty crazy Sunday afternoon. And but it started it all for us, for both of us. We had a great karting career in the following years. Won the Junior World Championship again 2 years later, and in '89, and then in '90 I won the Senior World Championship in Formula
K, wasn't it? Yeah.
My brother stayed after I went to England to start my kart racing career. My brother stayed in Italy as a professional mechanic and won more world championships. So he was also a big part of the success we had together in karts.
So like, he really made a go of the opportunity that came his way as well. Which is,
he still does. He's still a go-kart mechanic.
That's amazing.
And
I love that.
Yeah, it's cool.
I love that. I mean, we're not going to throw years around, but this is kind of 40 years, and it's so cool. That's really, really cool. That's the last thing I'll say about years and age and stuff. But I mean, you kind of touched on it there. Obviously, there was all that success that you had in karting, and then all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, but I know that you did make up with your Formula Ford debut was in Denmark.
In '91.
I think. Shall I try and pronounce it? No, I'm not going to.
Jyllandsringen.
I was going to say Jyllandsringen. That's good. Okay, great. Obviously, what was that step up like from the karts to Formula Ford? I've spoken to a few people that have done it, and some have said it was really easy, and other people have just said it was.
Yeah, it's very, very different.
Yeah.
Karting is very, very intense, and it all happens at the same time, and there aren't really brake zones and all the stuff that you suddenly are introduced to with heavier racing cars. So it was a one-off, hardly any testing, just jump in and go. I will say though that earlier in '91, me and Jacob from the World Championship and one other Danish kid, we went and did the Jim Russell Racing School at Donington Park for a week.
Oh, did you really? Cool. Ooh.
Yeah, that's Elon. Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, so we went to Jim Russell Racing School, which was a fantastic experience. It was so cool. All three of us had the best time of our lives, sitting in these little Formula cars and feeling like F1 drivers already.
Yeah.
It was,
and I guess that was
also the start of where I decided, that this is what I'm going to do.
Right. So it was you kind of came over, obviously, and it was your first experience of like proper racing cars, I guess, first real full experience of it. And what a great circuit as well up at Donington.
Yeah, fantastic.
Cool circuit. And it's kind of nice that's where you thought, yes, this is me. This is what I want to do. And
yeah.
I mean, was it that set the wheels in motion for doing Formula Ford here in the UK and things like that?
But there was, I forget how, I mean, it was 5 days at Donington Park, and by the end of it, there was a race where I did quite well, and it got people talking a little bit about, what I was going to do next year and stuff like that. So it opened up enough, at least, that I thought, okay, I need to investigate a little bit. What are the options for me over here or in the UK? So by the end of '91, I'm pretty sure the end of '91, or it was the end of '91, I went to Snetterton for a Formula Ford test, like an open test, where a bunch of drivers were given a go. And that also went pretty well. But I think what got me in the door with all the teams, also Van Diemen Works team and places like that, was my karting success. That they all wanted to talk to me about driving for them. They also, every single one of them wanted 70,000 pounds for me to race, which was a lot of money. I had zero money.
Yeah.
I had to give the sporting federation called Team Denmark had given me what's equivalent of £5,000 to try sort of to help a little bit. So there was a big gap, and I didn't know how to overcome it.
Yeah, that's like not even 10% of what you need, but it's
no. But it was anyway. I got all these meetings, and every time it kind of stopped at the £70,000. And in the end, I was at a meeting with Foundation Racing, Mick Goldney, and Foundation Racing, and I kind of knew where things were heading. So when he said £70,000, I said, that's fine. I got that. I only got 5,000 right now.
I can get the rest.
Yeah, and then I took a big chance, and so, but it got me going. Got me a few races into the year before they found out I didn't have any money.
You do.
So,
it's an interesting approach, but it got you in the door. It got you in the door.
It worked. Yeah. So
wow.
So when they found out that I didn't have the money, they told me they kind of knew it beforehand. So when it came to it, they did offer me an out and a great one, where they would say they'd pick up the bill for the year, carry on with them, and if I ever made it, I'd pay the money back.
Wow.
And I said, yes, please.
Yeah. just like ripping arms off everywhere, just everywhere.
So that was very, very cool. Yeah.
That's a really cool thing. But it obviously shows that they had kind of like some faith in you and your abilities and what you'd shown already.
But by the time they'd offered me this, obviously I'd shown something, but no result. We still didn't have any result. It was kind of a normal entry, I guess.
I mean, I had a look at the results. It was kind of, you were finishing kind of like edge of the top 10, kind of 8th, 9th, 10th, around that kind of time. What was it? And you were racing at Thruxton and Silverstone, Donington, Brands, etc., etc.
Yeah.
One thing I did notice in the results, though, and I'm hoping you can sort of shed some light on this, was it Alton Park, right in the middle of the season?
Yeah.
It just kind of clicked, and everything just seemed to go upwards.
Turned around.
From there, do you remember what it was that kind of clicked?
It was a few different things. It was me getting my head around what I needed to do and how to drive this car, which was, it's very different than a go-kart. And so it was just me getting my head around how I had to drive it, how I needed to control, it's about controlling your aggression, how you drive, and there's no grip. With the Formula Ford 1600s, there was zero grip at best.
Yeah.
And so to try and drive these cars and keep them going and not stopping and starting and getting the flow.
Yeah.
Plus the team hired a couple of new people, mechanic, and one key person, Russell Atkinson, who was Russell Engel's mechanic the year prior.
Okay, right.
And they'd had great success. So he came in with a bunch of new ideas, and everything started to work. And from that race on, it was, I didn't win them all, but close.
Yeah, I've got here that you won 6 of the next 8 races. You won at Brands, Mallory Park, Castlecombe, Thruxton, Donington, and Silverstone. I mean, all very, very different circuits. So it wasn't just like it was set up for one circuit, or you were one. I mean, you can't get too much different from, say, like Mallory Park and Silverstone. I mean, completely apart. But I mean, that must have felt great when everything clicked, and you obviously getting confidence in yourself and the team with the car and everything. Yeah. That must be an amazing feeling. Getting in the car, thinking there's a very, very good chance we're going to win this thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The championship was difficult to win because of this slow start, but at that point it just became about winning from weekend to weekend, and getting ready for the festival. At the end of the year.
I was going to say, I mean, it's a good way to gain momentum for what was a huge deal at the time, wasn't it? I mean, the Formula Ford Festival was absolutely enormous. People from F3 and F3000 and F1 were there, and or like representatives. I mean, the grids were massive. I mean, there's people from all over the world racing. I mean, it was. I remember watching it and thinking, I've got to go to this thing one day, because it was just fantastic. And you carried some great momentum into it from the season. You must have been pretty confident going there, despite the competition.
No, absolutely.
The size of it.
Confidence was high from all the wins in the second half of the season, and we tested a lot of brands, and we felt absolutely as well prepared as we could be. And we go there, I put the car on pole by a good margin, with the fastest lap ever at that time.
Wow.
And then get disqualified for a car being underweight. 2 kilos. And because right before the week of the race, we were, or like a couple of days before qualifying, we got the Dockhams sponsorship for the car, and there was just a new bodywork that was lighter, and my mechanics had failed to go and check. We didn't know it was lighter. It was lighter.
Right.
So I got disqualified. I had to start from the back of the grid with a 10-second penalty.
Wow.
But still, because of the heats and the quarterfinals and everything, so you can work your way back.
Yeah.
And everything went absolutely to plan. It was not. The festival was never an easy weekend. It was, dry, wet, half dry, half wet, half. It's just. It's so hard with the track conditions.
Yeah.
So, and it weren't really until the final.
It's like typical. It's like typical English autumn weather, Yeah,
it was crazy to fight through this. But I had a big advantage on when it was completely dry, and not so much. But I was there, but no advantage in the damp or wet conditions. Yeah. So, but I made through. I think I start 4th for the final. And it's dry, and I fight through. A big fight with Oliver Gavin.
Yes,
is one of them, and a good fight with Russell Inkle, who's come back to try and win it. So
he came back, but you had his mechanics. There you go.
I had his old mechanic. So it was fantastic. I was definitely, even with the karting world championships and everything, this beat all of it. The feeling of winning the festival. There's nothing like it at the time.
Yeah, just on Oliver Gavin, I mentioned that we had him on back earlier this year, and we'll come to your racing with him further along. Excuse me. When you were racing with him with Corvette further down the line, did you ever just remind him that you beat him in the Formula Ford Festival? Every now, did you ever mention it?
Yeah, also because I passed him around the outside into paddock.
Oh.
And we've talked, or at least I've talked a lot about that in front of him. So
he's just listened to it.
No, it's good. It was a good fight. He ended up DNFing. He had a problem, but I think he DNF'd because he drove into the back of me, and then something came off and fell into the footwell. So yeah. I think I lost you a little bit. I can't. We're still on? We're here. We're back.
My apologies, folks. That was the internet at my end. It does happen. It's a bit windy and wet here, so yeah, sorry about that. And we swapped sides just to confuse everyone. Lovely. But no, great. I mean, obviously, fantastic to win. A shame for Oliver, not really.
Yeah, I got over that.
But I'm sure. But I mean, I mean, that must have just opened up so many doors and like conversations and things to have won that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the logical step for me on from that, F3 was discussed, but pretty soon, realized very soon that that's a big step. Year 2 in cars and Formula 3 at that time, that was not on for me. Yeah. So it was Opel Lotus or Vauxhall Lotus in the UK, Opel Lotus in Europe.
Yeah.
And that was it. And started speaking to teams, but it was the same thing. Now they wanted £150,000 or 200,000,
Yeah.
and I didn't have the money, so Foundation ended up extending my excellent deal with Foundation Racing to then move up with them into Opel Lotus, both British and European.
It's a nice to have that continuity with the same team as well, because I guess jumping from team to team in those formative kind of seasons.
At the time, it gave me, I felt calm and good about the whole situation, because I knew the people around me. I knew who I would have as mechanics, and all this. It just felt right, and we were good together.
Yeah.
So it also started very well. 1993. We tested well, and the first couple of races went well, both in the European and in the British series.
Yeah.
I had wins. I think I had wins in both. I'm not sure, but for sure I had wins in the British.
I've got from my notes here, which may or may not be correct, but we can blame the internet. We can blame the internet if they're wrong. It's fine. I've got you had 3 wins in the Opel in the European, and 4th overall, and then a win in the British as well. It must have been enjoyable, and also getting to grips with like downforce and wings and all that kind of stuff as well. Nice to do it with good people around you and on different circuits as well.
Yeah. Now I got out on proper F1 circuits. I've driven Silverstone, Donington, obviously, but got out into Europe and driven in Barcelona and Imola and places like that. Really, really cool tracks.
Yeah, and back then it was the proper Imola. Obviously, we know why it had to be changed. We get that, and we understand. It was the proper Imola, the proper one.
Yeah. It was pretty daunting the first couple of laps, I can say that.
God.
But no, it was all good, and it started really well. But we only got 2 months into the season, and then performance started to drop off.
Right.
And by mid-season, we were pretty much nowhere. And it was, down to inexperience from my side, but also from the team side, that we didn't really have the people to move us out of this hole that we dug ourselves into. Everyone around us had outdeveloped us somehow, and we were lagging behind.
Yeah,
and
I suppose, isn't it? It just
it was just difficult, and I couldn't really at that time. I wasn't experienced enough to help the team to get out of to find a way out of these issues with
back and everything.
And the same on the team side. So. As luck would have it, we're testing at Mallory Park, of all places. And I'm standing by the fence looking out at everyone else driving, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And this guy I had met at Jim Russell Racing School in '91 comes up to me. David Markham was his name. Comes up to me and talks a little bit about what the hell's going on and why the downswing and just having a chat about things. And I tell him, I think this is a bad situation and I couldn't see a way out. And I was nervous that this could be the end of it. Unless we find it, then it's probably over by the end of the year.
Right.
Yeah. And then he informs me that. He says, well, his mom has supported racing drivers in the past, and at the moment she was helping Kelvin Bird in the British Championship, British F3.
Yeah.
And she's done she goes and supports drivers. Obviously, it's a business for her, but she'll do it, and she does a good job. And he thought maybe we should give her a ring, and I'm like, yes, we should.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, because he did say you need to go to another team. You need to go to the top team.
Yeah,
and obviously that would take some money. So we call her, and that same night we agree. I agree with Anne Newland that this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this together. She's going to support me. And same night she picks me up where I'm living down near Hemel Hempstead.
Okay.
And immediately she takes over as manager.
Wow.
She moves me to to David Sears Motorsport, Sears Red
Wow.
Motorsport, and does a deal with him. So they were co-managers
Wow,
for me.
that's cool.
Yeah, and now there was a clear route, kind of. There was David Sears had Supernova in Formula 3000, the top team,
And there was
and he had a good team in Opel Lotus. So I moved there, and immediately we find success again, and I start winning races.
Yeah. And again, it's just that kind of right place at the right time. Standing by a barrier, and then the right person turns up.
Yeah. I just stood there looking miserable, and he thought he'd come and have a chat. So very good.
Let's go and cheer this guy up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's kind of how I got moved on from foundation racing.
Yeah. Okay. And obviously, we saw that the that the results improved, and you're feeling much happier about things, I guess, and all that kind of thing. And
yeah,
at the end
back on track.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There was, as you say, there was a path there and everything. I think it was at the end of that year, there was what became, I guess, a big break. You linked to, you had a couple of races in F3 with Paul Stewart Racing and his dad, Jackie or something, who's done one or two things in motorsport. I mean, how did that come about for those last two? Because it was Silverstone and Thruxton you did, wasn't it, in F3? How did it all come to be that you ended up there for the last two races?
Well, there was so Kelvin Bird was winning the championship in one of the cars, and the other driver, Edwards, I believe, was not performing or ran out of money or something. At least he wasn't going to be there for the last two races.
Okay.
And obviously heard about this through Kelvin or her dealings with Kelvin Bird. So she arranged a deal where she bought a Dallara, which was the car to have at that point, and put in with the team, and then I came with it. So it gave me kind of a little bit of a head start for the '94 season to get a couple of races under my belt.
Yeah,
sure. And they went pretty well. I had a fourth and a third, got on the podium.
I was just going to say, I mean, like Dallara may well have been the car to have, but you stepped up from the Formula Opel Vauxhall Lotus series into F3, which is not an insignificant jump, and you still got, I mean, okay, it was a good car, but you got in there and you drove the thing, and you got fourth, and then a podium in your second race.
Yeah, so that was a good start, and made the choice easy for the year after, where I was going to drive, and had brought them Kelvin Bird, who won the championship, and now she's bringing a new driver, so it was easy to get in the door.
Yeah, sure.
And that's how I ended up at Stewart's.
Just quickly, obviously it was like Paul Stewart Racing, but obviously we know Jackie was involved. I mean, how much involvement did you have with Jackie going into the '94 season? Because I mean, if you can't learn a thing or two from Jackie Stewart, then you're probably in the wrong business.
Yeah.
I mean, that off season must have been
pretty
exciting. It must have been so exciting.
Very much. It was so cool. The Formula 3 car was also, a proper carbon fiber top. Everything about it was so cool. They sounded great. I thought they looked absolutely beautiful. Those cars
did look great. Yeah,
and
proper F3 cars. Yeah.
Yeah, and the off season was spent a few visits to the factory. I'd obviously gone in the off season. I usually go home to Denmark and spend some time with the family. I had my son Kevin was already born at this point.
Right. Yeah, 92, yeah.
Well, he was born before the festival, actually. So in '92. Yeah.
In '92. Wow, crikey.
Yeah.
Blimey, you're a bit old now.
But and then a few visits to the factory, having seats done, and meeting Paul and Jackie some more, and talking about what's in store for me, what I need to learn, and new people. Just spending some time there, getting to know everybody.
Yeah, very cool.
once we got testing, my teammate was Dario Franchitti, so I had a really good benchmark to.
What a lineup that is for Formula 3. I mean,
with
the way your careers have gone, that's fantastic.
Yeah. And he's a absolutely fantastic guy, and he was on his own path, but always a super cool teammate, helpful and friendly, and there was competition, obviously, like there is in a team, but everything was in good, in a good way. Kind of drove things forward.
That's great. I'm just thinking, you're going into F3 with Jackie Stewart and Dario Franchitti on your side. I mean, that's not a bad place to be in. It's pretty good. Just quickly before I get into that season, because that was the season that I first really heard of Jan Magnussen. One more age thing. I was 12, but anyway. 13.
At least you heard about me.
Yeah, of course. But I do have to just touch on a couple of things. Firstly, Andrew Bishop on Facebook. Hello, Andrew. He said, just think how many of the guests on here have gone through the Formula Ford route. Yeah, loads of them. So many have gone through it. It was a fantastic proving ground from karts, and I miss it terribly. Simon Steele's put a question in as well, which we're going to come to in a moment. And so was Diffan. We're going to come to that. But we've got a guy who I think John Cavill. He does the he's involved in GB3, GB4. His dad's got a trophy named after him and all that. He's tuning in. Hello, John. Firstly, he says it's been a real pleasure getting to know you over the last year or so, and beyond. But he said, very quickly, how did Jan get on at Estoril last weekend?
I got on really well.
Yeah,
it's a historics, Peter Auto historics. I race a Lola T70 from 1969.
Nice.
Beautiful looking car, sounds great, it's fast. But we ended up finishing second. I have a big penalty that I have to serve every time for 30 seconds because I'm still gold rated. So I have to serve a 30-second penalty in the pit lane.
Okay.
So we ended up finishing second, but it's a fantastic event, and I love driving these old cars. I can use all the old tricks that I learned in the beginning of my career and put them to good use again.
No, brilliant. Lovely to hear that. Good stuff. And thank you, John. Thank you for tuning in. We'll have to catch up again soon, sir. Right. Okay. Now, we're going to come to Simon's question in a minute. 1994. What a season. I mean, obviously, you thought, we kind of touched on it. F3, you're in a good place. You've got a good team and good people around you, and you've done well at Thruxton and Silverstone the year before. Obviously, you thought we can do well here. Did you think it was going to go as well as it did? Surely nobody could have thought it was going to go as well as it did.
No, not in my wildest dreams. I knew that the pressure was on for me or Franchitti to win a lot of the races. So I had a feeling it would be between him and I. I knew we were in, if not the best team, then one of the best teams. We'd prepared well. And so I knew that there was a good chance of doing something pretty cool, winning some races, and that's definitely also what happened. But to the ending up winning 14 out of 18 was not on the cards when the season started. And it was just something that big momentum from one success to the next, and just building yourself up. And my confidence level was extremely high. It was easy, and I thought, well, this is probably how my whole career is going to be.
Every year is going to be like this. I mean, just for those who don't actually know about how it went, I mean, I've just got here. You took third at Silverstone in round one. And I should put on my notes here. Then after that, it was the Jan Magnussen show. I mean, I said you took a pole and win at Donington, pole win and fastest lap at Brands, double pole and win at Silverstone, another clean sweep of pole, fastest lap and the race win at Donington, pole and win at Alton Park. You won 8 of the first 10 races. Then you kind of won at Pembrey, clean sweeps at Pembrey and Silverstone, wins at Thruxton and Silverstone, won the title by 115 points, broke Ayrton Senna's record for wins and podiums. I mean,
pretty wild.
That's unbelievable. I mean, I mean, I know as a racing driver, you can never think we're going to win today, but it must have been pretty close to be thinking, here we go again. This is going to be another good day.
Yeah, but by halfway through the year, it was my feeling, in the morning was I knew I was going to win. I didn't know exactly how. It was just okay. It was a weird state of mind to be in. Super confident. I wasn't very often super nervous. I got a little nervous towards the end, when we got to the point in the championship where now I can actually clinch it.
Where you could,
but,
yeah.
But up until that point, I wasn't really nervous before the races. I felt I was calm and I was ready for this. And
wow,
yeah, it's a snowball effect of when it became easy.
Yeah. I mean, how often in any driver's career does that happen? You get to. I mean, I spoke with Johnny Molam on here, and I think he won every race in the Porsche Carrera Cup one season.
Yeah,
and he said that was unreal, but he said that just doesn't happen. That I mean, yours was pretty much the same as that. That kind of feel of just turn up and we'll find a way to win.
Yeah, it's a state of mind. And fantastic focus there is on what you'll do, how you will do it today. Like I said, I kind of knew that I was going to win. It was just, and a lot of the races I won on the first couple of laps. I pulled out a big gap, and then I could manage it from there. It was, it was crazy.
I mean, I think, I can remember from watching when I was that age. I remember watching, and that was the first time, I think, obviously we know what happened with Paul Warwick in 91. That was awful what happened with Paul in F3000. But that year with Paul and you in F3 in 94, I remember thinking, who is this? This is absolutely unbelievable. It was just one of those times where I thought,
it was pretty wild. But,
and obviously to win the championship in the way you did, I mean, fantastic. And again, it put you on the map again, even more so.
Yeah.
Obviously nice to celebrate and everything that year. The following year was obviously 95. I don't think anyone saw the next move coming. I mean, because I obviously at that age, all I knew was F3000 or F1 or whatever it was. And then you were suddenly in the DTM in essentially like touring cars and things.
Yeah, it was a strange move, and I'm not sure today that was the right move. But at the time, we feel it was the right move because I don't know how, but Ann Newland had done a deal with, or Ann and David had done a deal with Stewart for 94. And I'm pretty sure that they got a little bit of a better deal if they, in the contract said, if I'm moving on to Formula 3000, then I have to do it with Porsche Stewart Racing.
Okay.
So that was on the table, and I started testing for them, but something just wasn't clicking. It didn't work. It didn't work well with the team, with the people that were involved, with the cars were missing something. So we were slow. And, it was pretty clear that you want to try and capitalize on the success of 94. It broke up a little bit there again. Maybe we'll come back. Here we are. We're good.
For those of you listening, I'm shaking my head. I hate the internet connection. Why does it do this at this time of night? Sorry about that, Jan. Sorry.
That's how it is. No. But, wanting to capitalize on the success of the 94 season, which was the best ever, and then do a big old belly flop the year after in Formula 3000 was not something that we wanted.
No, sure.
There was an obvious better option with David Sears and Supernova. There was room for me there, but Paul Stewart Racing wouldn't release me from the contract.
Right.
At the time, I had my by the middle of the 94 season, I was approached by a few different Formula One teams about being a test driver. and one of them was McLaren, which I ended up signing for. And working with Ron Dennis and talking to him about this problem that is just not working out in the for some reason the 3000 Paul Stewart's 3000 car wasn't great. Something was off. But since that wasn't on that move, we couldn't do that. And then Ron Dennis offered up because of the new collaboration or whatever it was with Mercedes and McLaren. There was an opening there in their junior team, a Mercedes junior driver. And then I'd go to DTM, work with some extremely sophisticated race cars and very, very high-level engineers. So it would give me something. It wouldn't give me time behind the wheel in a powerful Formula car, but I would be test driving for McLaren, so I would get laps there. So we kind of made it, okay, maybe this will work out pretty well.
Yeah, like a different route.
Yeah. So I went and did that.
Yeah, because I did look in my notes. I wasn't sure which way it came around, whether you went to DTM with Mercedes and that linked you back to McLaren, or McLaren linked you to Mercedes. But it was obviously that way around. Yeah. So we'll come to the we'll come to the McLaren bit in a minute, because that was cool. And I've got a friend of mine who's a massive McLaren fan, and I know he's going to be watching. So I need to talk about McLaren. But this is a good question actually from Simon Still, and it works. Works quite well with the timing here. Hi again, Simon. It says, how sophisticated were the ITCC cars at the time? Obviously, you did the International Touring Car and the DTM before it all morphed together and all that. What was that Mercedes like to drive? Because it looked brilliant. I remember it looking great.
A fantastic race car. It felt like that the technical rules were like three lines. go as fast as you can, and it needs to look hard, but it still has to look like a taxi. And
yes, yeah.
That was. I think that was the rules. So pretty much had everything: movable aerodynamics, programmable roll bars, weight, a lot of weight, 80 kilos that would move around inside the car, whether you need it for traction or you needed it for braking and rotation.
Right.
Well, you name it, paddle shift, ABS. It had airbags that didn't really work, but they were there. It was the most, at the time, I think, probably the most sophisticated race car on the racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the racing was absolutely nuts.
It was awesome. I remember the mid-90s DTM was
crazy.
For me, I mean, people say about the BTCC and the Super Touring. I'd say the DTM was either slightly above or slightly below, just depending on what you like in your racing. But God,
it was awesome. And the sound of these things were fantastic. 2.5 liter V6s, naturally aspirated, 12,000 revs. Nuts, absolutely crazy. And you're able to do like engine changes. You could change an engine in like 5 minutes.
Wow, just pop it out and put another.
And I think the gearbox as well. So it was pretty unbelievable how they built these cars. Like I said, the rules were pretty simple. Just go fast. Yeah.
I'm guessing that, with cars like that, the transition from the single seaters that you've been so used to into those cars, it wasn't quite as difficult as perhaps it would have been, because those cars were just so good. Perhaps
they were prototypes, very much prototype on a narrow tire though. That made it a little bit. That made it difficult to drive.
Sure,
but they were absolute prototypes and not so far away from the grip levels of a Formula 3 car. I think maybe, but so it did produce some downforce. It had good floor, underbody, wings. No, it was fantastic. It's one of the biggest regrets of my whole career is not that I ended up doing DTM, is that I didn't enjoy it more while I was there, because for me it was just something I had to get through to get to Formula 1.
It was like a stepping stone to and everything.
So, I see the cars now and then. My 96 DTM car, the white Warsteiner car.
Yeah.
Was in Denmark at a historic race, I don't know, 10 years ago or something. And I saw it again and heard it, and it was like, Man, can't believe I did something that cool.
That was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
And obviously, apart from clearly being great fun, I mean, yeah, there's some good results in there, and I did have them. Where are we? Because you were alongside like Jürgen van Ommen, who's obviously very good driver as well. But so you took fourth at Hockenheim, again the proper Hockenheim in those cars.
Yeah, old. Yeah, I think they were the first touring cars over 300 kilometers an hour.
Jeez, that's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, when you think about it, that's ridiculous.
Really crazy. Yeah.
One thing I did quickly want to touch on, though, you took fifth at the Diepholz airfield. Now, I quite like these old airfield tracks. Obviously, it's an English thing. We turn airfields into racetracks. But there was one, I think, in Cleveland. Was it the Burke Lakefront circuit in Cleveland? Whatever, was a old airfield. But Diepholz, what was that one like to race on?
Cool. Good to race. They're flat. They're difficult to get your bearings a little bit, to get to see the inside of the corners because you're sitting down low. Everything's flat.
Right.
But they're fun tracks. But it was like, there was a couple of places where if you ran off the road or off the track, you could hit something. But most places it was just grass. You'd spin around and look like an idiot. But it was a little bit like I like proper tracks better. I think the temporary tracks are great. Street circuits are so much fun. But the airfield,
I love a street circuit, so I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah, but no, the airfields are good enough, I suppose. But it's not because it also becomes a compromise. You have to put in weird chicanes, where it becomes super important, especially with DTM cars. How much curb can you jump and not destroy the car? It was sort of a weird balance that. But there's a lot of cool places, a lot of cool tracks that I'd rather go.
Yeah, fair enough. And just touching on street circuits because I love them. I don't know. I always have. The Alemannen Ring at Singen. That one looked really simple. It was like, I don't know, 5 or 6, 90-degree turns and stuff. I have a feeling it wasn't as simple as it looked. Was it quite tricky?
No. Yeah, it was tricky because you got the walls that kind of stops you from going off. But it's. I think we only went there once. I'm not sure. I think we went there in year 1, probably.
Yeah, 95. That was 95.
And
you took 4th and 2nd there, so you did well.
Yeah, and actually I thought I won, but there was a red flag because I was leading when it was red flagged, but I'd gotten the lead just after start finish, so I went a lap back.
Oh, so they went back a lap, right?
Yeah, and so I was pissed. I couldn't enjoy the podium because I thought they cheated me out of a win. But but no, it's fantastic. But it's also one of those places. The street circuits, DTM cars are running really close, and a lot of times into each other, a whole bunch. Yeah. And then when there's no get out, you can't really get out of the way, and then there's so much more contact.
Yeah, sure.
So these places are tough on equipment.
Yeah,
and I don't think anybody gets away from a weekend like that with the DTM cars back then without some damage.
Yeah,
it was. But it was great. It was full of people. There were so many spectators at the DTM races back then. It was fantastic.
It was awesome. Yeah, you're saying about running into each other. We'll not mention Mr. Nannini and his vendetta. That was that's a whole different story.
There's some good drama in that.
It was kind of typical of the DTM around that kind of time. Just quickly, what have we got here? Andrew Bishop. Hello, Andrew. Said never forget when Tiff Needell drove the old Mercedes on Top Gear when Klaus Ludwig was coaching him on the short circuit at Hockenheim. I remember seeing that. Yeah, even Tiff Needell was loving that car, which is very, very cool on Top Gear. Very cool. I mean, I was cool. I've been nearly an hour already. Okay, we're in 1995. So obviously, I'm guessing the highlight of the year. Obviously, not for Mika Hakkinen having appendicitis. That isn't particularly a highlight for him, and obviously very unfortunate that happened. But it gave you your F1 debut in the
Yes.
McLaren. I mean, you said you turned some laps in it and things like that. I mean, what were your biggest sort of surprises about the F1 car? Because I've spoken to a few people, and Tom Coronel, Robert Dornbos, and those kind of guys, and Ralph Furman a few weeks ago, and he said they've all said the same thing, was that was the braking. I think Dornbos he was testing somewhere, and he'd raced an F3 or something, and he thought, I know where the braking point is. He basically hit the brakes, head-butted the steering wheel pretty much, and then when he came to, the corner was still 100 yards away.
That
What
was
it like in the McLaren?
it was a shock to the system how violent that car can stop. It feels like you run into something.
Wow.
When you get everything up to temperature, tires up to temp, and the brakes. And at the time, at least, I couldn't press the brake pedal hard enough to lock the wheels to in the beginning of the brake zone. It just felt the harder I step on it, the harder I, kick it, the faster it stops. And I couldn't keep my head up either. My head disappeared. Trying to get it back up again. yeah, it was crazy. And my first test was also, it was supposed to be a 2-day test. And luckily ended up being a 1-day because Häkkinen had crashed the other car, and he needed my car for the second day. But there was no way I could have done the second day. My neck was absolutely screwed. Yeah.
Jeez. See, that's something that us mere mortals as fans don't get, is the physical side of driving an F1 car. I can't imagine. I mean, I drove an Ariel Atom, and that's like 10% or 5% of it, not even that, of an F1 car.
No.
And my shoulders and my neck were hurting as well. So God knows how you did it. I mean,
it's so hard. At my first test, we ended up drilling a hole in my helmet, and then putting a tie wrap through and under my shoulder, and then just tie wrapping the head to the shoulder. And that helped for a little while until my neck went completely, and then my head turned inside the helmet.
Wow. The helmet was tied in.
Couldn't see anything. I knew I need to do some neck exercises.
Wow. I mean, that kind of leads me on actually to, so you made your debut, I guess, fortunately, quite late in the season, so you had a bit of time to do some neck stuff. Because
I did some running throughout the year, but nothing, not a lot. So I was kind of prepared, and I knew that I had to work hard on my strength, upper body strength, and especially my neck. Yeah. So when it came, it came out of the blue. I had no time to prepare.
I mean, that was going to be the next question. I mean, how long before? Because it was the Pacific Grand Prix, wasn't it, at AIDA?
Yeah, those 2 Japanese races back to back.
Yes,
it was the Pacific Grand Prix one weekend at AIDA, and then the next weekend was Suzuka.
Was it Suzuka?
Yeah.
I mean, how long before the race weekend did you find out that obviously Mika had appendicitis and he was obviously not going to race? When did you find out, and how? Was it a phone call, or was it just how did it all happen?
I was told the Sunday before at Hockenheim. I was racing the season final at Hockenheim, and on the grid. So I was racing against Keke Rosberg, Mika's manager.
Okay, right.
And that morning he had said something to me. He grabbed me by the neck as we were walking in the paddock, and came up with some comment about my neck strength. And I didn't catch on to it at all until I found out why. He didn't tell me anything. He just sort of grabbed me by the neck and I don't know, trying to feel if I have no idea. But that was his way of kind of doing something. And then on the grid before the race, Ron Dennis comes to the grid and comes to my car and standing there with me. And he's done that before, where he'd come up and tell me good luck. But this time he kind of came over and put his arm around me and was standing there, but didn't say anything, and it got super awkward. Because it's Ron Dennis kind of holding you. And then just before I get in the car, he just sort of completely calm. He says, "Do you think you can handle a Formula One race next weekend?" And it was like I had no idea he was going to ask me anything. So it was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, of course. And he was like, good luck. And then he walked off. And after the race,
where was your head during the race? I mean,
well, that's the thing. I knew, obviously, I know I've done that race. Of course, I know I was there, but I can't remember anything from that race because my mind was like, what the hell? What did he mean? What's going on? And then, true enough, so I got out of the car and I was told you need to get to the airport now because you're at Silverstone tomorrow morning, practicing starts and pit stops. Because I'd never done one of those. Plus, also the longest run I'd had in a Formula One car at that time was a run of 4 laps. I'd never gone beyond 4 laps, so it's always 4-lap runs. So, and the race in AIDA was 81 laps. So that was also it's gotta hurt.
Wow.
So I went to Silverstone, did a bunch of starts and a bunch of pit stops. Went back to Woking where I lived. Packed a bag, went to the airport, and flew to Japan to acclimatize.
That's wow.
Yeah.
I mean, do you ever think, Ron, could you not have waited till after the race? Could you not have just?
That's not the Ron way. He wants to.
No, I suppose not.
I think maybe it was a test. I don't know, a Ron test. What I'd say.
Amazing. So. That's right. I mean, wow. And obviously you did the test at Silverstone. You went there. Did you have any expectations of yourself or anything going into the race, or was it just a case of just kind of show well here?
From the team side, I don't know what they were super good at keeping everything calm around me, keeping the press away and all this shit that happens to a new driver in Formula One. I was the youngest on the field of the whole field.
Wow!
So that was a story in itself. And I was 21, being the youngest. That's totally different today. But or 22 or something. But So the whole team kept everything super calm around me. The meetings that we had, the debriefings and all that stuff. I felt like, here's a bunch of guys that were really doing their best to take care of me. So it was a really good feeling and kept my nerves down. And obviously, the fitness question was probably the biggest question of the weekend, because how am I supposed to know what it feels like to do 20 or 40 or 50, 60 or 80 laps? It was a big leap forward.
So at what point do things start to really?
When does it happen? Wow. And as things went, I think on lap 6 in the race, I started to get like crazy cramps down my back and out through my leg, one of my legs. And I thought, that was not a lot longer than 4 laps. I thought that was the end of it. But it turned out it was just, I just had to, calm myself down, breathe. It was just the tension, I guess, from the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like a lap later, it was all gone, and I was clear, and I was able to fight all the way to the end. And I could have easily done more laps than the 81 laps. So
wow,
that was cool.
Yeah. It's amazing that you kind of almost like surprise yourself with excuse me. I mean, and one thing I did say, you were only the second Dane to ever race. And that was the first one since Tom Belso in
73,
74, Anderstorp, which is last race. But you must have been really proud of that, because it was 21 years down the line.
Yeah, I was super proud, and there was also a lot of attention on everything from all of the Danish press, and it was it's one of the highlights of my career. The moment all this happens, and suddenly you feel like you have a whole country behind you, backing you up.
Wow,
it's a great feeling.
That must feel cool. And you finished 10th, top 10.
Yeah.
You had a nice little battle with Rubens, who you would come across a couple of years later. But that's fantastic. Just a couple little bits, before we get to Stuart in 97. I saw you went back into touring cars, obviously with Mercedes for 96. You came sort of second and first at Hockenheim, and then sort of third at the Nürburgring. Really good start. And then you had a run of retirements and DNFs, which kind of knackered the season, I guess. But one thing I did see when I was doing my research, and I hadn't seen it before, at the Norris Ring. I don't like talking about accidents. I think it was Norris Ring, wasn't it? You had a complete brake failure.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, and thank God it was at the Norris Ring, and there was a big runoff down there.
Yeah.
Okay, tires on a concrete wall at the end of it, but there was. Yeah. I mean, that must have been absolutely terrifying. I mean, there's the picture of you sitting on the grass at the end, just like, what the hell just happened?
Feeling pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah, that must have been terrifying.
We had ceramic carbon brakes, and at the beginning of the race, lap 1 or something, a bonnet flies off one of the cars up in the air and lands on the corner of mine and closes off the brake cooling.
Wow.
So, but up from where I'm sitting, I can't see any damage. I think I just pushed that out of the way.
It just bounced.
So I can't see it's close to the brake cooling. So after a few laps, one brake disc explodes on the straight, like at the beginning of the straight, in fact. And I remember feeling that and thinking I drove over something, because it just gave a big poof in the steering wheel, but it came off clean, so there was no vibration. So I had no indication that I was in trouble. And then I went to the end of the straight, and these cars are fast, so I went to the 100-meter board like you should, and then stepped on it, and then nothing.
Wow.
And my initial reaction was, I don't want to hit anything. So I'm trying to find, where's the gap? Where can I go? And it was into the hairpin, and there was obviously a gap to go through from one motorway to the other. And I thought maybe I could go through that gap and then just bleed some speed off going out the circuit.
Yeah.
And but as I turn in, I can see there's a fire truck parked down there. So I knew I didn't want to hit that. And then I turned back into the chicane, into like there's a runoff chicane with tires and concrete.
Yeah.
And I sort of get into the chicane, so I get the last wall furthest away. Actually, I hit all three, but just like making the corners of the first two, and then big into the last one.
Crikey, jeez.
So a massive hit, and I'm wrapped in tires. I can't get out of the car. To begin with, I don't want to get out of the car because one of my seat belts came undone, so I did a big twist in my back. And I thought for a moment I'd broken my back because it hurt. So I said, okay, I'm just going to sit here and wait until they come and lift me out. So I didn't, if my back's broken, I didn't want to make any more damage. But then it catches on fire, and I think, all right, fuck it, I'll get out myself. So
wow.
So I had to kick out a window and then crawl out.
Good Lord. I mean, and I remember I saw the front of the car, it was just damn near gone. I mean, it was just the whole thing, the engine was just bits and pieces. Wow.
No, it was a big hit.
Yeah, obviously very, very glad you got out of it as well. But
yeah,
because when that kind of thing happens, I always wonder what goes through the mindset of a racer, because I don't think I'd be thinking. I think all my capacity would be all over the place. It's amazing that
everything kind of slows down until you start hitting stuff. Then it speeds back up. Yeah.
What a good line. I like that. It slows down until you hit stuff. Yeah. Oh goodness. But I mean, apart from that run in the season of the DNFs and that kind of stuff, it was a good season. One of those like what might have been kind of seasons without that kind of run in the middle. Because I think what was it? I can't see where we were. You took sort of fourth at Hockenheim, third at Interlagos and Suzuka, things like that. So it was a strong season apart from that middle bit, unfortunately. Just quick, I do want to talk about though IndyCar, because I mentioned beforehand, and anyone who watches these things, I always shoehorn IndyCar in because I love it. How did that come about? Because of all places, you went straight into Penske, quite a big name, to replace Paul Tracy. Again, how did that come about? I mean, because there didn't any real link to it.
No, and it wasn't really on the cards that I was that there was something that I was going to do. But there'd been a big accident at at one of these super speedways where both Paul Tracy and Emerson Fittipaldi both were involved in the crash. And Paul Tracy had broken his neck, and Emerson Fittipaldi had broken his back. So they sent me out to sub first for Paul Tracy in the Marlboro Penske.
Yeah.
He came back a week after. So I just ended up doing one race in the Marlboro Penske, but then I was moved over to the Hogan Penske, Emerson's car, to finish off the year.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was a fantastic experience. But again, a little bit, in my head, I'm on my way to Formula One, so this is something I just need to do. I need to do well, but it's something I just need to do, and I hate myself for it today that I didn't enjoy it more, or put more into it instead of just like it was pretty cool to do. But I didn't. I didn't get enough out of it. Yeah, I didn't get enough out of it because I was on my way to do something else.
Yes, of course, and that's something else we'll come to in a moment. I think it was. It's just flashed into my head. I think it was Michigan. I'm sure it was Michigan where Emma had his crash and Paul had his crash. Anyway, I could be wrong, but cool car to drive.
The crashes at the super speedways are always huge.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's someone's going to get hurt somewhere. Unfortunately. Yeah. But I got that you finished 14th in that first race, just behind Alan Jr. Not a bad place to be. I've had Al on here. Yeah. He's a great guy. But yeah, and I said it was quite tricky. You finished 8th at Laguna Seca, which must have been cool in in Emo's car on that circuit. Was there any opportunity to stay in IndyCar, or were things already in?
Well, there was an opportunity. I could have gone there for the '97 season as a kind of a third. It wasn't a reserve driver deal because I'd be doing racing, but I wouldn't do the ovals.
Right.
So I could have gone, and it was probably nice to have for if the F1 thing didn't happen. But I wasn't super enthusiastic about it. Yeah. It was I needed to get back to Europe and get my F1 deal.
And do your thing, yeah. And I guess because you got to do the orientation for the ovals and all that kind of stuff. And
so it's just be like a soft landing in IndyCars to do the proper normal racetracks, and then onto the oval stuff.
And things, so as you sort of touched on, there was something brewing for 1997. Again, Mr. Jackie Stewart involved again. I mean, how did that all come to be? Obviously, we knew that Jackie was forming his own team, and there was a lot of publicity about it, and you'd obviously had some dealings with Jackie in the past in F3. How did it all come together for 97?
It ended up being my engineer from Formula 3 that kind of got hold of me in the middle of the year, came up to me at something we were doing at Silverstone and just said, hey, look, it's not official yet, but Jackie and Paul is going to do going into Formula 1 with Ford as a backer, and just wanted to. He's been asked to ask me if I would be interested in looking at that, and I was like, absolutely, I'd look at that.
Just a bit, yeah.
So, so I knew a few 3-4 months beforehand that this could be an option.
Okay.
But my McLaren contract got in the way of it, so I needed to try and get out of that. And the reason why I was looking elsewhere than McLaren was because Coulthard had arrived.
Yes.
And I couldn't see. I knew that that's a strong pairing, Häkkinen and Coulthard. It was an amazing pairing.
They kind of stayed for a few years, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, and that I figured that's likely what's going to happen here because they're both performing at super high level, and I couldn't see like an obvious when is there going to be room for me. I couldn't see that, so I started looking elsewhere.
Yeah,
and then this comes. And I end up having to call Ron Dennis and tell him about the opportunity to ask him to release me from my contract.
Wow.
Which is pretty daunting. So I tell him about the opportunity that I have, It's with stewards. They're going into F1. He obviously has heard about it, and he listened to everything I have to say about what I think this can lead into, and blah blah blah. Sold the idea the best I could, and he tells me a bunch of reasons why he think I shouldn't do it. New team, they're not going to be experienced. I'm not experienced. He said, you're not experienced enough to lead a team, and blah blah, a bunch of stuff, on reliability, a whole list of stuff. But he ends up saying, but if it's something that you really want to do, then of course I'm going to release you. And that's pretty much all I heard. All the stuff that all the reasons why I shouldn't do it, soon forgotten. But in the years to come, would come back and haunt me a little bit, because he was right on every single point.
Yeah, but I mean, and I kind of totally get that with hindsight. You think, actually, Ron Dennis.
He did tell me that.
Yeah. But this is, I've spoken to people who have been in F1. I'm speaking to people who have had the chance of winning the Indy 500 or have done in motorsport or in anything. If you've got a chance to do something big, you've got to take it when it comes up, because it may not come up again. I mean, and we all saw what happened with McLaren and Mika and David. They were there for donkey's years.
Yeah,
not that long, but they were, and so it obviously totally get your reasons for going, because you got an opportunity for a full seat in F1. I mean, you just touched on what Ron said there about experience and stuff. Simon Still has put a question in on Facebook. Hi, Simon. He said, do you feel it was too early for you to go into F1 for 97? But I guess that balances out to having the opportunity to do it, doesn't it? And when are you going to get that? So, I mean, in hindsight, was it maybe a bit early, or?
I had it been different circumstances with stewards, where we could have had a proper testing program, we could have gotten all the laps in. Yeah, that was the biggest problem, was that it took me 2/3 of the season to get comfortable, because every time we started that car up, it blew up. So I had no laps. So had it been a normal situation, say like Villeneuve had come in, and he'd had like 10 or 12, 15,000 test kilometers before he drove his first race
with Williams, and
and I had less than 300 kilometers. I had less than a race distance before the first race.
Wow.
So there was just no time for me to get to know. So maybe waiting a year or two would have matured me in a different way and taught me some more stuff. But I don't know where that could have happened.
Yes,
because there was no more DTM. There was maybe I could have gone off to America, but that's not a Formula One car. And America and Indy cars at that time were big, heavy, super fast, and a mega competitive environment. But they were not Formula One cars. So I don't really know. I think what most likely would have made the biggest difference would have been just more laps. More time in the car.
So like with an established team, that would have maybe been the case. But it's just. But again, you've got to take the chance when it comes, of course. And I mean, I did see, and you were back alongside Rubens as well, which is nice. Yeah, Rubens. Everyone loves Rubens. How can you not love Rubens? I've never met the guy, but he comes across as just the loveliest chap.
He is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and a hell of a driver as well.
Yes.
And I just want to say that the first 36 laps that you had in Melbourne were pretty good. I mean, the pace was there. For a debut, a brand new team in an era that had seen Simtech and Pacific and 40 and all those kind of guys come and go very quickly.
Yeah,
it was great to see that the pace was half decent. And then what was it? Was it the suspension or something let go? Something went wrong, didn't it? And you had to retire the car.
I can't remember. I want to say ended, but we did a lot of those.
Yeah. But that kind of, as I say, it kind of set the tone for a frustrating year. I mean, the notes I've got, you got caught in the early collision in Brazil at the first corner there, and when Rubens stalled on the grid, didn't he? And then there was Canada and Hungary, and there was a spin at Imola and Suzuka there. So I've got brake issues in France, the engine blew in Silverstone in Hockenheim, transmission at Monza. I mean, you must have thought,
just carried on.
Come on.
unbelievable. Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
just,
and it took, and because of that,
it
it just took me a long time to get comfortable in the car. And Ruben's experience, and plus he's like super talented and fast, but also his experience. He could kind of cope with these setbacks a lot better than I did, because I felt like I was being all the time push back. So it was tough, and the pressure just started to build because the gap between myself and Rubens was not really coming down as fast as Jackie or Paul, anybody had hoped for.
Yeah, I mean, I remember thinking at the time. I remember again just thinking, it's just unlucky. There's just all this stuff keeps happening, and it's not.
Yeah.
You know, the vast majority of it wasn't down to you or anything like that. It was just, and you know, I can only imagine how. I mean, I was getting a bit irritated watching it. So God knows how you felt right in the middle of it.
It was tough being in the middle of, but I had, you know, my deal was a 4-year deal, and I thought, you know, kind of, even though it didn't look like it, but I did follow the program for the progress that we needed. And so that was also, that's my mistake, for, you know, for not being more cynical and thinking, you know, if they want me out, I'm out. That thought never crossed my mind. I had a good relationship with both Paul and Jackie, mostly with Jackie actually, but also with Paul. But so it, you know, it how hard and cynical and business like suddenly everything becomes. It was a bit of a shock. Yeah,
so really cutthroat stuff. I mean, obviously you got 10th on a tricky circuit in Argentina, but the 7th in Monaco. It was wet, wasn't it? Was it that year?
Yeah, but that was, you know, I stayed on track and got 7th.
Well, the others
didn't. I stayed more on track than everybody else.
Yeah, the others didn't. You know, you get people say, "Oh yeah, but it was other cars that went off." Yeah, so you didn't. You know, you down. So you know.
No. Yeah, that was unbelievable. I don't know how that race wasn't red flagged.
Yeah, looking back, it was
crazy. Absolutely. But Rubens finished 2nd, so it kind of put a damper on my 7th.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna. Okay. But it was a good day for the team.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
It was very, very good.
And it helped the team a lot.
Yeah. And I remember there was a good run. I think there was a bad qualifying in was it in Spain towards the end of the year, and you came all the way up to 13th, which I thought was a great drive. But I mean, going into 98, were you a bit kind of not more comfortable, but did you think, you know, with slightly better luck and better reliability, I can be decent here?
Yeah, but there was also a big rules change, a technical rules change for the groove tires and narrow cars. And those cars were difficult to drive and difficult to get your head around with the grooves. The tires were moving and just didn't give the driver a lot of confidence. So that was, but at least we had better engine reliability. But now we were blowing up the gearboxes because I think I'm pretty sure they did a carbon casing or something.
Oh, okay. Right.
Which was unreliable. So, yeah. So I want to say year 1, the car itself was pretty decent. Felt nice, decent to drive, good, fast at times. And but year 2, it was really a troublesome car and difficult to understand.
Yeah, sure.
New tires and everything. It was just a whole different ball game. Suddenly having to relearn or start from zero again, really.
And also, like with only 1 season under your belt as well, it's always like more difficult for you compared to others who had been doing it for a bit longer. And I mean, but I still think the way things panned out, I don't know, you may agree, but I think it was very, very harsh on you, the way things it all panned out. I mean, there was the incident with Ralph in the first race, which, you know,
which one is that? I read that in the notes. I can't remember that. Did I crash?
I saw a video. Sorry, it was. I think it was.
I can't remember.
I can't
Did I
believe
hit
I'm
him?
saying this to a Grand Prix driver. Oh my god.
Did Ralph hit me?
Yeah, we'll blame Ralph. He turned in. No, I think it was the first lap. I think it was the first lap in Melbourne, and you went up the inside, and he sort of came to. I mean, from the head-on shot, it looks like there was a big gap there. Then all of a sudden there wasn't, and I was like, "What the hell happened there?" And you both went off. But anyway, that happened. I can't believe. God, I feel like
I forgot that.
I felt like such a moron sitting here talking to him about a Grand Prix driver. But there was, I said there was issues in Argentina and Monaco, and there was the other bit of contact thing in Imola and all that kind of stuff. And then it all kind of worked well in Canada. Okay, there was a big accident with Alex Wurz and Alesi and all those kind of Salo and those guys, but you picked your way through those. The Schumacher-Frentzen incident, that was still controversial and all that, and you came through all that to sixth. I thought it was a really good drive. You got your first F1 point. I mean, have there been any mutterings that
that had already started earlier in the year, maybe all the way back at Imola. I'm pretty sure that it started. I started seeing Jos Verstappen in the pit lane. Him and his team started to show up. So I was kind of feeling the pressure, and then come Montreal, I end up scoring a point, and I'm kind of have the feeling, okay, maybe I found something. Maybe this is I felt good about the whole thing, and now we can move on. That there's a little bit of success of, but that feeling only lasted like 4 or 5 days. And then I had the call from Jackie that they had to make a change. Basically, it was a very civilized call. It was not nice, but they wanted to give Jos a try for the rest of the season, and then that was it. That was
that was very harsh.
It was.
Especially that year, from what you were doing, say, versus Rubens, it wasn't. I mean, I think Rubens only got 4 points all season.
Yeah, but what they really put a lot of emphasis on was the gap in qualifying, that I hadn't been able to bring the gap down enough. That's what it was. But that was a hard blow, and it was hard to accept. I'm sure. Shit, it's over.
Yeah.
And it was a really, really bad way to get fired right in the middle of the year, very public. Everything was.
Yeah.
But so it didn't leave me with F1 options. It was over, 100% over.
Wow.
So that was, that was not a good time. Those next few months, 4 or 5 months.
And I appreciate you talking about it, because even all these years later, it still is not the easiest subject, of course.
No, it sucked. But that's how it is.
But I mean, I'm just aware of the time, and we've got loads to cover, and we need to do it pretty quickly. But it's fine. It's fine. Not for me. It's fine. But things went pretty well. After that, I mean, the following year, you went over to CART for a few races with like Patrick.
Well, I went to ALMS, American Le Mans Series.
Yes, American Le Mans.
Yeah, and at the end of '99, I did some more IndyCar races.
Yeah.
I was put into sub at Patrick, and did 4 races.
Yeah, did a handful there.
Yeah.
Because obviously I had Ray Hall on last week, and obviously his whole team was born out of Patrick Racing. So.
Yeah. He's a cool guy, by the way, Patrick.
Yeah. I heard he's a good guy. I spoke with Ari Lyndike and Danny Sullivan, and they've all said the same. He said he was a really cool guy.
Unbelievable. Yeah. But I'd go by the end of '98. I obviously went back to Denmark after F1 was over.
Sure.
I went back and felt sorry for myself for a while, and then David Sears calls me about this opportunity there is in America with Panos, and he thought that maybe that could be a new direction for my career.
Yeah,
and I only went out to test the car because he told me to. I didn't want to. It was like when you've done with Formula One, there's a long time where in your head every other option is lower, is worse. There's nothing.
Everything's a step down.
It's a step down. until you get a head around it. But at that point, it was a step down, and I didn't want to do it. But he asked me to, so I went out and tested the car, and absolutely fell in love with the Panos, for one thing, a front engine monster of a car, and but also the American team culture. It was just what I needed. I needed to be part of something, a small deal, back to the underdog situation, going up against everybody. It was it was cool, and it was easy for me to make that decision that this is what I'm going to do from now on.
Yeah. Which is very, very cool. It's good to have that change of direction and feel comfortable. We'll talk about 1999. It was a good time to talk about Le Mans because you've done okay at Le Mans. 1999 was your first one, and you went along obviously with like Panos, and you were there with like Johnny O'Connell, and Max Angelelli. Had you done a big endurance race before?
Well, I did Sebring.
Yes, you done because you did. Yes, you did Sebring, of course.
Yeah. So I did that with John Nelson actually as a teammate. John Nelson and Johnny O'Connell.
Okay.
And then we did a couple of races in the American Le Mans series, and then flew everything over to Le Mans.
I mean,
but that was a fantastic. I mean, the whole introduction to Le Mans, to the track and to the atmosphere and the history of the place, it hadn't at all figured in my mind before.
It wasn't even
before '99. Oh, it was not. I knew of the race. John Nelson had won it in '90, and Tom Christensen had won it in '97.
Yeah, Tom was quite good at Le Mans, so he
ended up being pretty decent. Greedy bastard. But no, so it was only I got there to the track, and the history of the place, and the how big it is, how long the track is, how long the straights are, everything, was just an amazing experience for the very first time, the very first lap, driving down the Mulsanne, and not being able to see the end of it. Where the hell does this stop? It was crazy. Yeah, fantastic experience. And then in the Panos, which was a monster of a car, fantastic sound. It was pretty. In '99, we also had good pace. The car was very fast, and but unfortunately, the car was pretty unreliable. So we didn't have a good result. But we were fast at times, and got a good introduction to Le Mans and what was to come.
Yeah,
we finished the race, which was pretty big.
Exactly. Yes, 323 laps as well. I did my research today, which is
all right. That's not bad.
That was the first time out. Very quickly in the comments, I have seen that John Cavill has to leave because he's busy. But John, thank you for tuning in, and I'm sure Jan will see you around at some point as well. But thank you, John. Good stuff. Enjoy your evening. He's got to shoot off. Okay, excuse me. There's loads of questions coming. I need to come to these. Okay, we've got to just handpick some of the bits at Le Mans because you've done very, very well there. One thing that does tie in again to Simon Steele, who's commented, what was your partnership like with David Brabham? Now, for those who don't know, you shared with David Brabham, massive name in motorsport with Brabham, and a chap called Mario something, Andretti or something, in 2000. That must have been cool. So
that was absolutely amazing. Being wow. That was Don Panos did that deal, and for Mario to have a comeback at Le Mans and a big, American name and an American car, and all, it was fantastic to be part of. And we were after '99 when we showed good pace with the Panos for 2000. Unfortunately, we had a big BOP adjustment for the restrictor, so we had no power, and that was it. So there wasn't on the cards to do anything. Yeah. But hanging and sitting with. Just being with Mario Andretti was the most fantastic time I have had at Le Mans. The stories that man can tell,
Oh,
I was late for every driver's meeting, every engineering meeting, everything, because I was sitting with him listening to all the stuff that he'd been doing.
The best thing about Mario is even now, I mean, I had him on here, probably the first massive name I had on in 2021, I think it was. And even then, I mean, he's 82, 83 now, and he is still absolutely razor sharp, isn't he? And he remembers everything, doesn't he? It's incredible.
Unbelievable.
That must have been awesome.
It's pretty crazy, actually. So for all the stuff that he's done, that he can celebrate his 82nd is pretty wild.
That's amazing. Yeah. Amazing guy. Okay, just want to come to your first podium finish at Le Mans, 2003, the LMP 900 class in the Audi with Segiara and Marco Werner. That must have been cool. I mean, just your memories of that race and getting onto the podium and.
Well, it was. So it ended up. It wasn't a podium. It was 4th overall, but 2nd in class.
Sorry, second in class.
So we didn't get up on the podium.
Oh, okay. I thought
it was an overall because there was a mix of because the Bentley was there, same class but a different name. But anyway, and but it was cool. I've been wanting to get into the Audi. I've been racing against it now for a few years, and knew it was a great car. So it was. I saw it as a really big opportunity for me to maybe even win Le Mans for an outright win, overall win. But the Bentleys came, unfortunately.
Yes, the Bentleys came.
And were unbelievable, both fast and reliable, and But no, it was cool. Unfortunately, it was a one-off, and that deal ended as soon as Le Mans was over. I did do some stuff with Team Go, the Japanese team behind it. I did do some stuff, some test drives with a view to do Japanese Super GT.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Later that year and beginning of next year.
Okay.
But but after Le Mans, both Brabham and myself were invited by ProDrive to come back to ALMS and drive their 550 in Maranello for the remainder of that year.
Nice.
GTS, I believe it was called at that time, GT1, GTS, to try and see if they could beat the Corvettes. Okay. So we went out there and we did a good job and beat them a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought, okay, maybe that's the direction for me now. I knew I wanted to stay in America after the years with Panos, but just didn't really have a clear path to how that was going to happen. Okay. But at the end of the year, I had a call from Corvette. From Doug Feehan, Corvette racing manager, where he said he thought it'd be better for both of us if I joined Corvette. So that was it. It was a 3rd driver deal to begin with, where I just joined in with Oliver Gavin and Olivier Beretta for the long races, so Sebring, Le Mans, Petit Le Mans. Plus, they would allow me to do other stuff to keep me racing.
That's pretty cool. That's very cool. And I
did that for 3 years, which was I thought it'd be easy for me to get a full-time drive there, but they're loyal guys and they work hard on their drivers to keep them fast, keep them fit. So it took nothing moved for me, or nothing happened for me until Ron Fellows decided to retire.
Okay, right.
That gave an opening for a full-time.
And then it moved from there. And as I mentioned, we had Oliver on here, and obviously I think he's still involved with Corvette, isn't he? He's still involved, but I mean, he can't speak highly of his time there. He thought, with like Pratt Miller Motorsports, all that. He said it was great.
It was fantastic times.
Just quickly on Corvette, we'll come to the IMSA stuff very quickly, but I mean, 2004, you'd obviously linked up with Corvette. And Oliver Gavin and Oliver Beretta, and Le Mans was one of the races, those endurance races. I mean, and it was the start of a pretty good few years at Le Mans for you and for Corvette and for all the guys involved. I mean, in 2004, did you kind of feel that it was kind of coming? That you could go there and you could win?
Beforehand, we went to Le Mans knowing that we have a shot. Yeah. We went there knowing we have a chance at this, but it's also a long, tough race.
Yes.
But we have a shot. But very, very early on in the race, I have a coming together with one of the prototypes in the fourth chicane, and it puts me in the wall in the fourth chicane after pit end.
Was that with Jamie Davis, wasn't it? In the
Yeah.
They
were in the
was it the Audi?
Yeah, it's British English run. I forget.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it puts me in the wall on the entry to fourth chicane, which is after pit end. So I get the car going again, but I have to do a full lap to get back to pit end. Very, very slow full lap with the car hanging in bits. Everything was destroyed. But they get the car back together, put it back together, and we race through the night and through the morning, catching laps, getting closer and closer and closer. Get back into second place, but like 4 laps down or 5 laps down, sort of mid-morning. And then, we get back just after noon, I think. There's a few hours to go in the race at least. And then the leading 550 Ferrari has a problem. And suddenly we're on the lap. And now there's a fight. So we're back in the game, and we can now win it. And that's what we end up doing. Yeah. It's pretty wild from going there feeling, oh, this is going to be great, and then this is going to suck. Yeah. And then we can win it.
Back up again.
Yeah.
That's cool. And that time, obviously, that was a proper class win and all the stuff that goes with it after the race. That must have been cool. The first time.
Unbelievable. Standing on that podium, on top of that podium. Unbelievable. With all the people down in front. There are so many Danish fans that go to Le Mans every year, upwards of 40,000 that travel to Le Mans. I think it's only the Brits that are. I think that's the only nationality that are more. But
I think we only go for the beer, though. You go for the racing.
They go for the beer as well.
Oh, yes, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
But you've got 2 reasons.
Yeah. But no, so just unbelievable. And then we start this run of success at Le Mans. The 3 of us. Category changes name from GTS to GT1.
Yeah.
Corvette brings a new car, the C6. First year was C5. And we come with the C6, which is much better than the C5, but ProDrive is also building up. I don't know. I think it's still they still have the 550 Maranello at that time. I think it's a little bit too early for the Aston. So we win the next 3, 4, 5, and 6, or the next 2, as of 3 in total.
Yeah, 5 and 6, and then
and then 7 and 8, we're in the hunt where we can win, but Aston ends up winning a couple. Yeah, and then I think back on top.
I think it was 08. You were on the same lap, weren't you? I think it was super close after 24 hours.
Yeah, it was mega close. Yeah. And then back on top again for 2009 for the last year of the Corvette GT1.
Yeah. I mean,
a fantastic run.
Must be. I mean, that must be a time of your career that you look back with a big smile on your face.
Absolutely. Cool. Yeah. That was really, really cool.
Yeah, fantastic. And there was some more to come in 14 and 17 class podiums, but I just want to touch on something that we spoke about. Your countryman Alan Simonson was lost in 2013, and it's one of those accidents that you look at and you think, oh. That was, it doesn't look anything at all, but much the same as Dale Earnhardt's one in NASCAR. It didn't look like anything serious, but I remember Oliver Gavin said he was right behind it, and he didn't.
We were both in line right behind both.
You were behind Oliver, were you? Right. Yeah. And did it not look much to you either? Because on TV, it just looks like, he's just hit the barrier.
Yeah, boom. To me, it looked like it was a big accident, but not to the extent that it ended up being. But it looked like, okay, that's a hard hit, but nothing more than that. It's only when because they just put out a safety car. So for a long, long time, we're behind the safety car. Yeah. Every time we drive by, we can see them working on him. They're holding up this blanket, and you can see underneath that they're working on him. So we know this is serious. But none of us are told, and then the race goes on again. After it's a long safety car, but then the race starts up again, and we carry on what we're doing. And it's only when I come back to the pits, and I come in and talk to my wife, and my PR guy is sitting and talking. I asked them, "Have you heard anything?" And they said, "No, it's been quiet." And I said, "That's bad." And then comes the announcement, and that he passed. And then, I mean, it's a horrible thing. Alan drove for me, and I had a go-kart team years prior, and he drove in that team. It was my brother who was running it, so I didn't have a lot of contact with anybody, but I did have contact with them. And he was a fantastic guy, and it just, we've been together at the parade a couple of days or the day before, and then it just feels surreal to but now we're having to deal with this and the thoughts that go through your head.
Yeah.
And most of all, you just want to stop. You just want to look. It's inappropriate to carry on.
Yeah, this isn't worth it. No. It's not right. It's
also not the race, but the race carried on like nothing had happened. Yeah. And it was really, really hard to keep jumping in the car throughout the night and doing your stints. And it was
Oliver said exactly the same thing. He said he found it very tough.
To carry on. It felt unfair somehow.
Yeah.
But maybe that's a good way of honoring him. That we carry on racing, and that's what we're here to do.
Yeah. I mean, and it's the old cliche thing, isn't it? It's like, it's what he would have wanted you guys to do, and all that kind of thing. So I guess that's a way to
something like that. But it just didn't. It just felt. It was just work. It wasn't passion anymore. It wasn't with a clear goal in mind or anything. It was just, all right, the stint is 11 laps. Let's get it over. And then we'll do another one, 11 laps, and let's get that over. It's nothing more than that. There was no joy or anything. And before the accident, the problems that we were having, our car was handling really, really badly. And that was, the overshadowing problem of my life that I had to understand. And then this happens, and it just puts everything in.
You think that doesn't matter? Yeah, that this the handling or anything else.
It's not so. That's not a big problem.
Yeah, and I guess the race just felt like something you had to do rather than something you really wanted to do, I suppose.
There it felt like work. That's the only time it felt like it's just a job I need to do. There was nothing. It's hard.
Yeah, sure. And Keith Mail, hello Keith on Facebook. He's just said, thank you for sharing this bit with us, Jan. It can't be easy to talk about and share. Really respect you for sharing this. Yes, that's exactly what I would say. It's not an easy subject, so thank you. And we don't like to talk about it too much, but we of course always remember Alan because he was a terrific
fantastic guy.
Yeah, great guy. Happier things. I want to talk about like Inter and stuff. We're just going to rattle through some of your highlights because there's been a few. Happier stuff. We just go back a little bit to 2005. Your first Daytona 24 hours, completely different to Le Mans. Different field, different atmosphere, different kind of race. Did you? And I've forgotten about this. You shared the car with Brian Herter, who's been on here. I like Brian. Brian's great. And then Bobby and Terry Labonte, NASCAR legends. That must be awesome.
It was absolutely. It was super, super cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, both fantastic people and great characters. They I don't know what it is, but the NASCAR guys are just different. And
we're mad, aren't they?
Completely. And but they're fun to hang out with.
I'll bet.
Both of them has made a fantastic life from NASCAR, earned a lot of money, living the life they want, and they were just doing this for the hell of it,
That's brilliant.
Let's raise a weekend
together. That's a cool thing to do just for the hell of it. The Daytona 24 hours.
Let's just go and do it. For me, it was it was pretty important, but for them, it was just something. They weren't doing anything that weekend. Anyway,
that's cool. I mean, and like driving a Pontiac with those two guys. I mean, that's cool.
It gets that's very American suddenly.
It's proper, properly American.
Yeah, great.
But there was cool things to learn, because on lap time I was a lot faster than them. Both me and Brian were quite a bit faster, but they were much faster than Herder and me on the straight.
Okay.
And it was like, it was messing so much with my head. How? It's just flat. And why are you faster in the same car that I'm going flat in? And it was just these little oval tricks that they knew about, when to release the wheel a little bit and let the car float and find a better line, avoid a bump, and all this stuff. But they waited too long to tell me. Bastards.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Good guys.
Yeah, that was cool. And I used it every year since. Yeah, I didn't tell anybody about it.
So. Good. They didn't. So just again, fast forward 2007, overall podium again with Max, with like Wayne Taylor, another legend of that world, and Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon. Yeah.
I mean, outside America, that bloke is criminally underrated. I mean, he was a top driver. That must have been good hanging out with those guys, and then taking the podium as well.
Yeah, and we were actually having a shot at the win there, but we ran out of brakes in my last stint. We had to do an unscheduled brake bleed to get to the end. But we were fighting for the win there. So the third place was great, but it was a little, man, it could have been more.
It could have,
but that's how it is. Yeah.
And I bet Jeff Gordon knows how to celebrate a win as well.
It's all good.
Just to skip forward again, 2015. Class win with Antonio Garcia and like Ryan Briscoe.
Yeah,
memories of that top step at Daytona. Pretty cool.
Just a great race. I think pretty much without any issues. Like a textbook endurance race of how to, to achieve a good result is by staying out of trouble, not hitting anything, not breaking anything. And at the same time being fast. So then we won by 3.5 seconds, I think, to the BMW, which is not very much.
No,
but and I thought that was a small margin.
I was going to say we'll come on to the following year in a minute. Like to win, you've obviously got a class win at the Milan class win at Daytona.
Yeah,
very very cool things to have.
Fantastic.
And, awesome sort of party, I'm sure. You said 3.5 seconds isn't a big margin. It's almost like it's almost like an hour compared to 2016. Now, as I said, I spoke to Oliver about this.
Yeah,
I've actually
we had different experiences, him and I.
I was going to say you do the complete opposite here. I hate to say it, I got Oliver to sign a photo of the finish. Sorry, he's got a bit.
Man.
But after 24 hours against your teammates, the sister car in the Corvette, you lost by, I've got 0.034 seconds. I mean, 0.03 of a second after 24 hours. Obviously, Oliver loves it, but
bet he does.
It must have been. And I'm sort of smiling here, but it's through pain, because I can't imagine a worse way to lose a 24-hour race.
It could have been to another team, because it stayed within the team.
In-house.
It stayed in-house, which kind of put we couldn't, because there was the goal for Corvette racing is to win every race, and they don't care which car does it as long as one. Yeah. So that was the goal for the weekend. So everybody, achieved one of the goals. Both cars, but one car achieved all its goals. And but it was hard to swallow, because it was our pits were out. We could see the line. We were in line with the finish line, and it was like, okay, who came first? And it was like, nobody wanted to look up at the screen. It was like, damn it.
You were sitting there.
So, it was the last, quite a few laps actually. The cars were, Corvette gave the order, you're free to race. Just make sure you don't hit the yellow one.
Yeah, because Antonio was ahead, wasn't he, going in? And then Oliver went up the inside, wasn't it, I think?
Antonio, Gavin was ahead, and Antonio he dove on him into turn 1, but very, very late, and then went a little wide. Oliver gets him back, and then Antonio has a go on the straight and sort of was towing up, and then they cross like that.
Just didn't quite,
Yeah.
And it was honestly, you lost by about 2 feet. It was like, oh god, it was just
man. It was, but you know, it's still a great race and fantastic race for Corvette racing.
Yeah, it must have been difficult though, because obviously everyone at Corvette's going crazy and losing their mind. They've just got a 1-2, and you're sitting there going, "Oh
man,
damn it!"
But I have to say, all in all, it was there was still a great feeling in the team. It was just the seconds right after one car lost and the other car won, and then that does do something for the atmosphere. But very soon after, I think one of the strongest things about being with Corvette racing was how the team worked together, and by working together we achieved all these victories and wins at Le Mans and at Daytona and championships and Sebring and Petit Le Mans and all that,
Yeah, and you've just mentioned some of those races. Actually, there's a couple of bits I just want to pick up on. I mean, firstly, one is that I love Long Beach. I've always loved Long Beach. Wherever is racing there. Even historically in F1, it was a cool circuit. Okay, the circuit's changed a bit now, but it's still big prestige out there. I remember Brian Herter just loving Long Beach because he's from that neck of the woods. Yeah. And you won there in, was it 2014? I think you won there, which is very cool. That must have been a great win, because that's a big deal in the States, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's one of my favorite street circuits.
Yeah,
it's very different from many street circuits because there's actually, for the most part, there is some room. The walls are the way they've built the walls up, especially on the inside. They're now nice and round, but you're up against the walls.
Yeah.
So the feeling to drive these places, what you have to dig out, what you have to find in yourself to go for a qualifying lap there, is something completely special, and it feels like you are. I mean, it feels like you're taking a huge chance to put in a lap, and it's just a great feeling.
Yeah, very, very cool. I mean, I like the bit around the fountain. That's cool. It's just good for photos.
There's also a little hedge and stuff that you kind of plow through, and
send some green stuff around, and
very cool place.
Yeah. I just want to step on to very quickly 2017. Now, you'd already won the 12 Hours of Sebring before. You won it for a second time at the start of 2017, which kind of set the tone for the season. Obviously, Sebring's known for the bumps. So I ask everyone who's raced there, how bumpy is it? Because it looks absolutely horrendous at times.
It's as bumpy as you can imagine.
Right.
It's absolutely, it kills cars, it kills wears out drivers. Everything is broken after very few laps at Sebring. But it's part of the charm. When I drove for Panos, Don Panos, he owned that track, and we talked to him so many times, please, can you repave this place? I mean, it's out of control. And it feels like whatever, I don't know what holds your eyes in place, whether it's muscles or small elastics or anything, but they are broken after a few laps. So it feels like your eyes are just rattling around inside your head. It is unbelievable what it does to a race car. But Don Panos refused to do anything about it because he said, well, that's the charm of this place. We should do a couple laps. But he's right. I think that is the charm of the place, the bumpiness, what you have to deal with.
It's like people like me. It's the first thing you go to when you talk about Sebring is the bumps, because you know what it's like. And to have won that race twice, that's a hard race, isn't it?
I think I've won it more than twice.
I think it was 16, 17. Yes, it was more. Sorry. Yes.
I think 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 5, 6. Also. I think I have 5 Sebring.
5 Supermans. Yeah, because I think it was second. Yeah, sorry, my notes said second to that point. So yeah, crikey, that's cool. Into double figures just on podiums at Le Mans and Sebring. That's cool. And then Chuck Daytona in as well. Very cool. But yeah, hard place to win. But also 17, you also won the title as well, winning just 3 races. It was a really consistent year as well, wasn't it? The car and the team and everything was working really nicely.
For sure,
yeah.
It was the championships in GTLM, racing against Porsche and BMW and Ferrari and those guys. It was all out battle. It was like it was touring car racing, just for longer. And it was so cool. There was so much contact, most of the time pretty civilized, but there was contact the whole time, and you're barging your way through and muscling people out of the way, and it was just a great factory against factory battle.
Yeah, elbows out. And,
I loved it.
Obviously, you won the championship 17. 18, you won the title without winning a race. I love it when that happens. I absolutely love it. We had it in the British touring cars in 2019, I think it was. Colin Turkington won. He won just one race and won the championship. But it's just
I absolutely hated it.
I'm sure. I mean, from the outside, it's like, that's very cool. Well done. But you would have thought there's an
man. Yeah. No, to not being able to put it together 100% for the weekend was, for just one weekend, get it to work and win a race, but still winning the championship. We felt, Antonio and I felt like imposters, that somebody else should have had it. But hey, it's championship. That's the way it works.
It's all about the points. It's all about the points. But I mean, obviously, some great success out in the States in that time as well. I'm very aware of the time, but just so other little bits I just want to pick up on because I mean, that's not to talk about them. Just another little things that you've raced in before we go. TCR Denmark recently. You went out there and had a couple of years, back home in Denmark and raced. Is it the VW and then in the Cupra? And it was the second year that caught my eye. 2022. Obviously, you just want to keep racing things like that. You won a whole bunch of races. I mean, I'm just trying to think. Was it 2020? 8 wins.
It was the first year in the Cupra, whenever that was. 22.
22, yeah. Did 8 wins and 4 podiums, and I reckon you would have probably won the title, but you had a bit of bother in the middle of the season, was it?
I at a street race in Copenhagen, I destroyed a wheel hitting a curb, and then I hit the fence or the concrete really, really hard, and so that kind of put a stop to the championship. But it was a great year, lots of wins, a lot of speed, but that simply was too expensive on the points account. To come back from, unfortunately.
But still cool knowing that you've definitely still got it. You can still.
But I've always since 2001 of every year except for maybe 1 or 2 I've raced in Denmark alongside what I did in the US. So I always flown back and did touring cars, both the Super 2000 cars. We had a period there right after the financial crisis where nobody could afford anything. We raced with these American Trans Am cars.
Oh, cool!
In Denmark, yes, the Danish touring cars, and then the TCR cars. So I've always enjoyed coming back because I've always felt, that I've had so good support around the world, and especially at Le Mans. And it's not at all the same racing in Denmark as it is racing at Le Mans, but the fans are also there, and I felt it was. I liked racing.
Yeah, nice to sort of take it back home as well. Just quickly about Copenhagen. I actually went there in 2017, and we went to see, like the Little Mermaid statue, and I had to laugh. There were some American tourists behind us, and they sort of came round up the coast and they saw it sitting there, and like some of them went, "Oh, it isn't very big, is it?" I went, "Well, the clue's in the name. I mean, it's not
It's the Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid. This isn't called the Massive Mermaid, is it?
I'm sure they had expectations of something huge.
Yeah, I thought it's called the Little. Anyway, sorry, sidestep. Two more things I want to talk about. NASCAR. You did one NASCAR race at Sonoma, which I've been to. Beautiful circuit, really beautiful circuit. NASCARs are not easy to drive, but you did very well in it. Did you enjoy that experience?
I loved it. It came about because I was hired by Hendrick Motorsports to do some development on their road course car.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, Hendrick are the name in NASCAR. They're proper big.
Yeah, that is the name.
Yeah.
And so I had some pretty prominent teammates. So it was Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. were my teammates. So it was pretty wild.
Wow.
But so I did the development on the car, and then as a kind of a parting gift, they gave me one race, which was absolutely fantastic. But it's also crazy. The amount of contact and it's like 3.5 hour long bar fight is the best way I can. It feels like there's chairs and tables flying around the room. And but fantastic experience. The NASCAR itself is impressive for what it is. It has so much power, no grip, no brakes, super heavy. But again, it's a race car, and everybody else has the same. And the competition is fierce.
Yes.
From team to team, to drivers, to anything. Those guys know how to drive a car like that.
Yeah, absolutely right.
It's difficult to come in and do great.
Yeah, and I think to take 12th was super impressive.
It was very cool. And the other 4 cars which were running what I developed, one of them won, and the other 3 in top 10. So everything worked out super perfect.
That's a great day. Great day.
Yeah.
They do need to get rid of the playoffs, though. That's a ridiculous idea.
It's difficult to get your head around.
It's not for me. One last thing, supercars. You raced at Surfers Paradise, which is very cool. We like Surfers Paradise, but we've got to talk about Bathurst. It's coming up this weekend. You ran there once, alongside Jan Magnussen.
Yeah.
Underrated driver, very, very good driver. I mean, what's Bathurst like? I mean, I've asked loads of people about it. I mean, it's probably my favourite circuit in the world. I haven't been, and I'd love to go. It just looks sensational.
It is a phenomenal place. It's his own thing. Surfers Paradise is also great.
Yeah,
I have to say that the V8 supercars are fantastic. It's definitely to watch and also to drive. They're difficult to drive, but they drive well. They sound great. But going up and down that mountain and over the top of the mountain, the craziest feeling. Absolutely. It's so fast. It's so obvious and there is no room for error. And a small error is going to cost everything. So, great. I'm very proud I did that. And, had a good weekend with hanging with Magnussen. We both got carbon monoxide poisoning in the car, which was great.
Bonus.
Yeah, so we had some issues along the way, but it was fantastic going there and trying driving up the mountain. Fantastic.
Yeah, and you got to do it in a Holden in the Australian car, which is cool. It's cool. Yeah. I've always been more Holden than a Ford, but anyway. No, that's great. Okay, just a couple of things we need to talk about. We need to talk about your boys, really. I guess quickly with Kevin. I thought he was very harshly treated by McLaren. I'm going to come out and say it.
Yeah,
obviously, he did very, very well to get in there. And what was it? He came second on his debut, I think, wasn't it? Second on debut in Melbourne.
He was still across the line, but was promoted to second.
That's it. Yes, that's it. But
nonetheless, podium.
In what was not the best McLaren of the last few years, I think it's safe to say. I thought he did a terrific job. I thought he did really, really well. And you must have been very proud watching him, and then just the way it all unfolded. It
was
cool.
It was tough. Cool. It's come the end of the year, there was, I think everybody felt like that he would stay on, and there was also what he was being told by Ron Dennis that that was going to happen, and then right at the last minute everything changes. Alonso comes in, Jensen stays. It gets a little messy for Kevin, and he's kind of left out in the cold.
Yeah.
So that was hard on him, and it was hard. I don't want to put make it about me, but it was hard for me to watch because I could remember the feelings. It all came back. Yeah.
You both felt a similar hand.
Yeah, but no, he did absolutely great. The opportunity with Renault that came after a year out. He tested a few different cars, DTM. He tested the Porsche LMP 900. I don't think it's called that, but that car.
Yeah.
And but then he worked on the Renault deal himself and got that and returned to Formula One that way. So that was it was pretty cool, and showed a lot of will to
resilience as well after what
wanted to come back and prove himself. So then he had
a
long time in Formula One, went to Haas, up and down.
Always like Haas.
Yeah, it was, I mean, Kevin had a great time there, and then obviously after the 20 season, Haas is struggling a little bit financially and need to get some money in. So Kevin's out again.
Yes.
And this time he thinks it's for good. He's had a good long run in Formula One, and he's pretty happy with that run. So he's looking elsewhere, and is looking at WEC and the hypercar and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But then last minute, the phone rings, and it's kind of funny because 10 days prior to the phone that Günther Steiner calls him, Kevin and I are on stage at an event where we're talking about our careers and racing stories and stuff like that. And there's a lot of people, and there's questions at the end. And Kevin's done a deal with Peugeot, and he's now doing hypercar. And there's a question from the audience because there's all this shit's happening with Russia, I think, and there's massive stories and all this. And a question from the audience is that, so if Günther Steiner calls you tomorrow, you're going back to Formula One. And Kevin nearly laughed when he said, "No, I'm done. Never, ever, ever again." And then, like in a week later, Kevin calls me and he says, "You're not going to believe this. Guess who called?" And I'm like, "Well, so what's going on?" And he says, "Well, there's this and that." And Günther says, it'll be a good deal and blah, and come back. And there's been improvements and this and that and that. But, I'm also, he's had a kid already. Kevin has a little baby girl at home, and his wife. And he had a deal with his wife that, they shouldn't have kids until he's out of Formula One. And now they have a kid.
Oh, gosh.
And he's really reflecting on all these things. And towards the end, I tell Kevin, I'm really, really proud of how you are thinking about this. And you're bringing up some excellent points. But we both know that you're going to say yes to Günther. And he was like, yeah, I am. That was funny.
Yeah, that's great. And I was delighted when he coming back to Haas.
Yeah, he came back, he had a fantastic comeback. They were good pace, got some good points, and it was cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I've just always liked the way Kevin's gone racing, just from the outside looking in. I just always like the way he just goes about.
He fights for his places.
Yeah, absolutely. And that pole at Interlagos,
unbelievable.
Feel good story of. I mean, I think that and probably Nico getting a podium this year are probably my two favourite stories of the last 7 or 8 years in F1. That was awesome at Interlagos. Just what it meant to him and what it meant to everyone. That was so cool.
Yeah, very, very cool. Unbelievable.
Love it. And he's obviously now doing well in the WEC with BMW. I just want to quickly talk about
about Luca. John Cavill did ask if Luca's coming back to GB4 or something similar next year. He's done well, hasn't he, this year?
Yeah, it's been tough. It's been a steep learning curve, and he's learned a tremendous amount about himself and about racing in England, British tracks and everything. It's been hard for Luca. It's been more difficult than he thought it was going to be, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But now we're working on next year. I don't know what next year brings just yet, because it's an expensive sport when you're the dad.
when you're the dad and a big chunk of the bank.
Oh my God! Yeah. So no, we have to sort out next year. Nothing is settled yet, but he's Luca's on the right track. He's learning every time he gets in the car, and he's improving all the time. He had a podium at Alton Park this year, which was a highlight of the season. And no, he's We'll see what happens, but for Luca, it's just the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely right. And just before we go, we also want to wish the best to both of your lads. Obviously, Kevin in the WEC and Luca for the future, and obviously wherever it takes him. He's got a good person to learn from for sure. Well, two.
Thank you. Yeah, a couple.
Yeah, which is great. Okay, just some general fun questions just to wind down at the end here. I asked them to everyone. Okay. Did you have a favorite driver when you were very young? And do you have one now that's not Kevin or Luca?
Yeah, so I grew up being a huge fan of Ayrton Senna from that generation.
Yeah.
Which is also, what made me even more proud to be in the Marlboro McLaren, because there was kind of a good connection there, I felt.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was then. Since, if I can't mention my own kids, then I was, secretly a big fan of Kimi Räikkönen while he was racing against Kevin. So. But today
I love Kimi, haven't you? He's so Finnish. He's the most Finnish man ever.
So cool. Yeah. And today, currently, massive fan of Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
I think, and he just became. He rose even further just recently when he jumped in a GT car and went to Nürburgring. Because to me that shows a real racer's heart.
Yes.
And it's difficult to disagree about his ability. Yeah. So he impresses the hell out of me.
It's just weird that there's like fans on all over the world, and they've all got their opinions on Max, good or bad, and everything. But
that's the thing. He does split people completely. Yeah.
But every single person that I've spoken to from inside the motorsport world, who knows what they're talking about, everyone says he's incredible, and
incredible.
I will take your guys' word over anyone else's. Absolutely right. You guys know what you're talking about. Okay. I like this one. Did you have any rituals before getting into the car? Did you get into the car from one side, or did you put your left?
So in the single seaters, I always got in from the left, like you would in a normal car in the rest of the world, apart from
us being back.
So that was kind of a thing. Now I don't really. I think I'm faster if I don't wear my watch for some reason.
Well, it's extra weight. So yeah. Okay.
I don't know. But it seems to check out.
Why not? Well, just do what is it like Lewis? He had on his glove, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe it shouldn't be there.
Yeah, job done. No, good stuff. Okay. 3 more. Okay. Have you got a favorite car that you've raced and a favorite circuit that you've raced?
Favorite car? Usually a driver will his favorite car will also be something, you know, he's had great success in.
Yeah.
But you know, most of the Corvettes were fantastic to drive, but I still have to pick the Panos, just because it was mean and wrong, and you know, it's a monster, difficult to drive, but a fantastic feeling.
Proper car, very cool. Favorite circuit that you've raced at?
Mosport in Canada.
Oh, I like that. That's good. I don't think that's
super high speed and takes so much commitment. Flowy.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Good.
Macau could also be up there just because it feels the crazy track.
It's just,
but you know, for a real racetrack, Mosport.
Mosport, that's cool. Macau is crazy. It's ridiculous, and they let people on it on like super bikes. What's the matter with it? Honestly,
crazy.
Yeah, crazy place. Okay, this is the last one, and it's a silly question because there's no answer to it. I ask it to everyone. I mean, you shared the track with a lot of great racers. I'm just going to chuck a few surnames out here. Obviously, Mike Rockenfeller, Wayne Taylor, the Labonte guys, Ryan Briscoe, Oliver Gavin, you know, Jeff Gordon, Bernd Schneider, Klaus Ludwig, Dan Ananini, Lowndes, Whincup, Mika Salo, got Rubens, Mark Blundell, Herbert Coulthard, Berger, Zanardi, Lacey, Johansson, Ray Hall, De Farron, Greg Moore, God bless him, Scott Pruitt, Fisichella, Brabham Hill, you know, Damon Hill, sorry, Dario Franchitti, Earl Bamber, Jacques Villeneuve, I mean, Christensen, Perot, McNish, Lammers, oh goodness me, Denny Hamlin and Montoya, Hakkinen, Schumacher, Andretti, etc., etc. I mean, crikey, there's some good names that you shared the track with. I mean, are there any that stand out in your mind as maybe not being better, but just kind of special or different, or something about them that just gives them an edge over anyone else?
There are so many great names in there, and it'd be hard to it's got to be Schumacher or Christensen.
It's hard to disagree, isn't it? I mean, to share.
It's one of those two.
I mean, like two of the greats there for, you know, in different discipline. I mean,
yeah.
And like Tom could have easily done F1 and been superb at it.
And been great.
Yeah. Schumacher or Tom Christensen. That's very cool. It's a cool way to that's two names on which we can end with a smile, I think. That's fantastic. We've run over by about half an hour. We always do. I always apologize. We always get stuck into things. Firstly, guys, thank you everyone for tuning in. There's been loads of you tuning in, loads of questions and comments and everything else. I hope we've covered everything. But of course, the biggest thanks, Jan, goes to you for coming on and having a chat and being guest number 200 on this milestone. It's been absolutely brilliant speaking with you and hearing your insights and your stories and everything else. So thank you very, very much for coming on. It's been great.
Thank you.
Great stuff. Brilliant. Right, guys. Well, we'll see you for the start of the next 200, I suppose. We're back next week, and we'll see you all very soon. Once again, Jan, thank you very, very much, Jan. It's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.